A few years ago, I was working at triage. It was a busy day. I was kind of walking back and forth between the two sections of triage, the walk-in section and the section where the ambulances kind of pull up, the little airlock kind of where we process ambulances. So I was going back and forth. Went over to the ambulance section this one time, processed the patient, sent him to an area in the department. And then kind of I looked back to the area, kind of the ramp where the ambulances kind of drive in. And I saw like a civilian car. I saw just a random car parked. And I thought it was interesting. So I kind of went out to tell this person that they've kind of come into the wrong section. There's another kind of driveway they need to kind of head up. And then before I even got to the car, maybe 10 meters away from the car, this fella comes out of the car, quickly opens up the back door of the car and pulls out what I thought was a child. And the child wasn't moving. It wasn't showing signs of life. Now, I've spoken about my nursing career on and off throughout this journey on YouTube. I don't think there is any other thing that scares me more than a lifeless child being carried in by somebody. That to me is like a #1 nightmare. There are people out there who work in pediatric hospitals, emergency departments and stuff like this. I mean, nursing and medicine is a very, very vast, diverse kind of field. You can specialize in many different things. One area that simply could not cope with is the pediatric kind of world, especially in emergency. Seeing sick kids in emergency situations will be absolutely heartbreaking for me, and I don't know if I could cope with that. My hospital where I work out, we don't see that type of stuff. All that often it happens, but we're not kind of a designated pediatric hospital. A lot of the public don't know that, so when things happen, they kind of pull up to the nearest hospital, and we've had kind of incidences like this. But in this situation, it wasn't a child. It was a very small lady with her kind of hands kind of, flailing to the side as the person's kind of running up this ramp. Anyway, so I kind of quickly realized what the situation was, ran up, and I kind of assisted this fella to put this lady onto a barouche. A barouche is basically like an emergency bed. We quickly kind of alerted a bunch of staff members, and we wheeled the lady into the resuscitation room, alerted the resus team, and the process started happening there. Before I knew it, the person that kind of brought her in, we couldn't find him. And so I kind of ran out to the area, to the car where he was at, because I wanted to ask him questions. Any history is extremely valuable at this point. To the resus team, we want to know if there was something ingested, if there was a drug involved, well, what the situation, what the preceding factors were. And so I ran out to kind of look for him, went over to the car, and the fella, when I got to the car, there was the same fella and another lady, both walking, were assisting another person, but this fella was walking. So there was 3 of them, and the fella in the middle was kind of struggling to walk. And then when I got to about 10 meters to them, the middle fella collapses to the ground. So then I run up to him and I see what's going on, and I realized that his pupils were very pinpoint. I spoke to the guy that brought the initial later in, and he said, yeah, we've been doing drugs. So then at this point, a couple of my colleagues came out, and we got another barouche, this kind of trauma bed, put them on, and all of a sudden we had 2 full-on resuscitations in the resus room. Depends on what sort of hospital you are. Usually our hospital, we can cope with multiple resuses at a time, but it's not ideal. You automatically, spreads our resources very thin. But anyway, we made do, and we basically intubated both of these patients. Intubated means that we put a breathing tube down somebody's throat, we put them in an induced coma, and then we look for a number of different kind of tests, and then we send them over to the ICU, and the ICU kind of look after them. The reason why I'm telling you this story is because a lot of us concern ourselves with getting better in life. A lot of us concern ourselves with getting stronger in these lifts, and we spend a lot of energy. And yesterday I was telling you guys how much time I spend, how much energy I spend thinking about these problems, thinking about solving these puzzles that we all have. And all our puzzles are slightly unique, but we all have our puzzles. These people popped into my head. It was one kind of story that kind of pops into my head. My brain kind of works that way. As I was kind of thinking about the problem today, I thought to myself, there are people in this world who don't even have an opportunity to think about something constructive. If you are addicted to drugs, I am talking purely from clinical experience. I've never done drugs in my life. I've never been a drug addict. So I'm not talking for personal experience. So it's not the best, I guess, experience. It's not firsthand. But I've dealt with a lot of these people. And it's clear that if you are looking for a drug, if you're high on a drug or you're recovering from a drug, there is no lot of good thinking going in your head. You are not trying to solve your puzzle at all. You cannot. You are knocked out or you're high or whatever. And so I spend a lot of my energy thinking about solving my puzzle. And it's freaking difficult, man. And I find myself running around in circles. I find myself hitting my head against a brick wall. Sometimes I feel like running through walls with frustration because certain things don't match up, certain ideas, certain hypotheses that I've come up with don't make sense, and I feel like I'm wasting my time. If I had substances in my bloodstream, not only are these problems impossible to solve, but they're never going to get solved, simply. A lot of us in this community, we speak, we brainstorm, we throw ideas around, and we're actively pursuing this thing. And there's people in the world who not even taking a half step forward. They're completely stagnant in life. They're completely just wasting life as it is. And I'm not saying that, that somebody's upbringing is worse than mine or better than mine or whatever the case might be. There's many different causes which causes people to kind of go into this direction. Some of them are unfortunately exposed to this stuff from a very early age. They've been brought up in a drug house. Mum and dad are doing drugs, in front of a 5-year-old. The 5-year-old sees that, and then what chances does that child have to grow up and concern themselves with solving their own puzzle, whether it be in the gym or academia or in the workplace? Most likely they're going to go down the same path. There's circumstances where kids break that mold kind of on their own, but it's very, very difficult. And so I don't want to draw judgment too quickly, but it's certainly a very, very difficult situation. We talk about solving puzzles outside of our work. If you are a drug addict and if you're high on heroin and you are continuously looking for a heroin fix, you probably can't hold a job. You probably don't have really good relationships in your life. There's so many other preceding things that you should think about before we get to the puzzle of how to increase a deadlift or a squat. There's so many things before that. Family, friends, all that sort of stuff falls apart way before the puzzle that we kind of concern ourselves with. It kind of struck me, sometimes I have these sobering moments. Sometimes I have these palate cleanses, if you will, where I kind of think about other forms of life. And, I've said this in the past, there's no right or wrong way to live this life. There's just different ways of living this life. I'd like to think that there are nicer and easier ways to live this life and more fulfilling ways. Doing drugs and whatnot, I just don't see how that's productive. I don't understand how these people break free. I don't know how they get happy. It's just one of those things. Today I've got a night shift coming on, and I thought about this. I thought about this story, and I thought I'd share it with you guys and just kind of palate cleanse you guys as well, because sometimes it's you're focused on Klokov, you're focused on Lou, you're focused on Tian Tao, Clarence Kennedy, Messi, Ronaldo, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson. We think about all these figures that are so far ahead of us in this kind of athletic world that we kind of forget where we are. You know what I mean? Like, we forget about how far up the mountain we are. This Mount Everest is massive. But there are people who haven't even started climbing. There's people who are not even in the vicinity of this mountain. LeBron James and Kobe and Messi, Ronaldo, they're at the top and they're looking down on us, I guess. And we're kind of maybe halfway up and we're looking up at them and like, damn, it would be so cool. The view must be amazing up there. They've sorted all their problems out. And then there's people, if we look down, I think it's beneficial to look down as well to see how far you've come. But there are people on the ground who haven't even taken that opportunity, who haven't concerned themselves with the puzzle, working out the route to get to the top. So sometimes I think it's important to kind of look up and down and see where you are in life and how far you've come. I don't necessarily like to think about those moments too often because I'm so kind of focused on working out the puzzle and looking up. But certainly when you, I think it's beneficial to look down as well. Today I kind of went into the gym and I thought, okay, let's do a quick session. Let's do an easier session. I've got a night shift coming on, so the recovery is going to be non-existent. I came in, I thought I'm going to do a quick deadlift, sprint up, quick front squat, sprint up. I did both of them. I hit 240 on the deadlift, 140 on the front squat, and that whole thing took me 35 minutes. And then I looked at the clock and I thought, Jesus, I didn't think I was going to run through this that quickly. And then I thought, what do I do that? I hit 140 again. Yesterday I hit 10 singles at 140 of front squat. So that's a whole lot of volume yesterday. I knew the night shift was going to be today, so I did all that stuff yesterday. Today I hit a second and I thought, man, what do I do now? And so I was talking to a friend in the gym and we're talking about solving the puzzle, I guess. And I said to him, I haven't front squatted probably for a week. The front squat is on my mind right now. I think the front squat is an exercise I should focus on. It's going to address my deadlift, my upper back weakness. Also, my front squat is going to get me to fight, to stay more upright. And then, after 35 minutes, the session was over. I thought, why don't I take this opportunity? I can't do volume today because I'm going into a night shift. So I thought, let's quickly sprint up on the back squat as well. So that's what I did. You guys will see a one take. I don't know how long the whole thing took me, from an empty bar all the way to 200. I hit 200 for the first time, and that was like a freaking felt like it was like a 1 ton lift. It was very, very heavy. I was very awkward with the lift, and I felt like I misgrooved it. So I didn't load it. I left the plates as they were. Came back another 2 minutes later. I tried to hit it again, and I failed it. And that kind of got me thinking along the lines of, it's been a week or something like this since I've hit a back squat. And I've back squatted for a billion days in a row now. But if you don't practice something, it does feel a little bit strange. Front squats and back squats are very close in the muscles they use, I guess, but they are different. And so it felt kind of weird for me to do a back squat today. So I'm trying to kind of advance the front squat. I've got a goal of hitting 180 on the front squat. So I'm kind of chasing that right now. I really want that. I want that discrepancy to be less between the back squat and the front squat, because I think that bringing the front squat up is going to make my back squat, bringing the front squat up is going to fix the back squat in the sense that I'll be more upright. I'll load kind of more of the quads. So that's kind of what I want to do. But at the same time, I don't want to lose the skill of hitting the back squat. So I'm trying to kind of work out how to go about it. Maybe twice a week I'll hit the back squat just to make sure that I don't lose that skill. But anyway, as I was kind of thinking about how to address the front squat, back squat ratio, how to think about more hamstrings, more leg drive on the deadlift, all this sort of stuff. And then it kind of occurred to me, I need to go to a night shift tonight. And I remember that kind of, moment where I met these 4 people rocked up to ED, to ER. 2 of them were absolutely knocked out from drugs. The 2 other ones were kind of, okay. And I thought to myself, man, there are communities out there like us who get together, we talk weights, we talk how to get better. We talk about philosophy, we talk about stoicism, we talk about all these wonderful things, how to get better as people in this life. And then there are other communities, vastly different communities, who basically get around and, I don't know, sit on a couch and they get jacked up on heroin, or it's just like, man, life is just, there are so many different pockets to life. It's just a sobering thing to myself that the people around me, we always often think about how to get better in life. I couldn't imagine being in a community who discusses, man, where we're going to get the next shot from. Their last shot was strong or weak or whatever. I couldn't imagine myself thinking about like that being my puzzle. Think about that. Like your puzzle for today is where to find the shot and who to do it with. So if you overdo it, somebody can save your life, so you're not alone, you don't die. What a community that is, right? So if you're in the right community like me, and we're talking about this, I mean, if you're watching this video, most likely you are wired up the right way, and you're probably trying to become a better version of yourself. You're not trying to poison your life. So if you're listening to this, you're probably like me. Just understand that whatever you do in the gym, even if it's a freaking 15-minute sprint up in the front squat and the back squat or whatever, just the fact that you are concerning yourself with the right damn problems is miles away. You are actively getting better. Even if you are stagnated, even if you're plateauing the hell out of everything, you've been plateauing for 30 damn years, just the fact that you are concerned with getting better means everything, man. He means everything. He gives you the opportunity. You might not see the right path to kind of run through the pack, to the goal, or you haven't found the right route to get to Mount Everest, like LeBron or Kobe. But the fact that you are looking up, the fact that you're scouting the damn area, trying to work out how to go about it, puts you miles away from the people on the ground who aren't even looking up. There's people on the ground who are not even looking up, man. People on the ground are looking down. Think about that, man. That is phenomenal. Perspective is everything, And there's people like LeBron who are on top of the damn mountain looking up. Think about that, man. There's a dude on the ground looking down, and there's a dude on the mountain looking up. And how these two people, if they got together, what the hell would they talk about? What the hell would it, think about how drastically different are those two lives that I just talked about. I don't know. This is one of the things I love about my work. I love my job because, I meet some wonderful people through my work, and I meet some people who are so damn lost, man, who need so much damn assistance to make them look up and look for a better way to go through this life. Ultimately, we're all going to the same place, which is there's going to be an end to all of us. But some people, man, some people's journey is dark as anything, man. Dark from the get-go, and it's awfully sad. I concern myself. I'm freaking hungry as hell for that 300 squat. That's my plight. That's what I want to get better at. Man, there's some people who are living a life like us, but not like us. Absolutely crazy. So in your plateau, if you have a shit workout like today, today's workout was all right. It went all right, but it was not kind of fulfilling because I have to kind of hold myself back. I have to auto-regulate the hell out of everything because I'm going to a night shift. And so, I'm driving home and I'm like, man, that was a mediocre, crappy kind of workout. I hit some singles, but I feel like I haven't done any real steps to go forward. Whereas yesterday I did 10 damn singles. Today I'm driving back and I'm like, just the fact that I am concerned with getting better is good enough, and it's giving me the opportunity. I might not make the physical gains today, but I'm certainly trying to make mental gains because I'm actively thinking about the problem. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.